Tonight on Grady Sportsource, see how head coach Leroy Riles has built up the Cedar Shoals football program. It's Rivalry Week in Athens, and Grady Sportsource analysts have all the details on the fierce competition that's going down tonight with their locks of the week. And find out how sports specialization is impacting high schools across Athens. Good evening, I'm your host, Lainey Tagliaferri. Welcome to this special Rivalry Week edition of Grady Sportsource. Tonight in the Athens area, there are two huge games going down. Clark Central will be taking on Cedar Shoals, and Athens Academy is playing at Prince Avenue Christian. We have all the details on both of those games, but first let's hear what Cedar Shoals head coach Leroy Riles is focusing on tonight.
Well, that's why it's important that you just stay within the fundamentals of the game. Stay within the white lines. Don't worry about all the peripheral. You got to get rid of, clear your mind of all the clutter, and just concentrate on football, because that's what's going to win the game.
We'll hear more from Coach Riles later in the show, but first, to kick things off, I'm joined by my two analysts, Luke Gamble and Anna Catherine Alderman. Thanks for joining me, guys. Because it's Rivalry Week here in Sportsource, I thought that we could start off with a little bit of friendly competition. The game that we're going to play is called Buzzer Beater. I have a list of hard-hitting questions that I'm going to ask you guys, and after I read a question, you guys are going to press this buzzer. First person to press it gets to answer the question. Keep things fair. You guys are going to keep your hands on the table. No reaching for the buzzer early. You guys got it?
Yep. All right,
let's do it. All right, perfect. Let's get things going. First question. What would you say is the biggest rivalry in the Athens area? Luke, that one goes to you.
All right. I know that Cedar Shoals and Clark Central is a huge game, but I have to go with Prince Avenue and Athens Academy. Athens Academy leads the series 8-7, so it's a much closer series than the Clark Central versus Cedar Shoals one is.
All right. I like it. We're going to put this back in the center. And who would you guys say is the most underrated Athens area player?
Man, this is too easy.
Right off the bat.
All right, most underrated player in the Athens area, I have to go with No Mack, the receiver from Clark Central. He's 5th in the entire state in receiving yards right now. He's a 3-sport athlete, but he doesn't have any college offers right now. I expect that to change after this season, though.
All right. Which Athens area team will make it the furthest this season?
Oh, man. I was slow to try to let her win. All right. The team going to the playoffs, making it the furthest in the playoffs, I say Prince Avenue. Brock Vandergriff has been out. He's going to come back with a vengeance, and he's taking the Wolverines maybe all the way to the state championship this season.
All right. I like that pick. Which Athens area team has the best mascot? Oh, quick to that one.
I had to get one. I'm going to say the Clark Central Gladiators, because there's a lot of Eagles, there's a lot of Titans, but there's not a lot of Gladiators. So they're kind of original.
All right, I like it. Back to the center. Y'all are trying to make it unfair here. All right, which team in the Athens area has the most explosive offense?
No doubt about this one. North Oconee has the most explosive offense. They're averaging around 38 points per game. Bubba Chandler and his offense are unstoppable, so I have to go with the Titans.
You agree? All right.
Okay, yeah.
And which team has the best tradition in the Athens area?
Ooh. Tradition?
Wasn't even over.
Tradition?
We'll give it to you.
I like traditions.
All righty, let's hear it.
I like the Cedar Shoals Rock because it's kind of bring them back to other people, the older football players. It's kind of obviously it's tradition, but kind of connects them. So I like that one.
Alrighty, absolutely. Well, Luke, you did a great job. Anna Catherine, you did great too. I'm going to have to say you were the winner here, but thank you both for playing and offering your insight. I know that some of our viewers have some thoughts of their own that they're definitely going to want to add in, so we'll be taking calls from them at the end of the night from Laney's line. Call 1-706-555-1932 to get in the queue. Coming up in the show, find out how Coach Riles has built up fan support and the team at Cedar Shoals. We'll take a look at sports specialization trends. Also, our analysts will pick which teams they think will prevail tonight with their locks of the week. And we'll hear from our viewers. The producer's telling me that the phones are already blowing up to get your guys' hot takes on all things Athens area football.
Okay, so we drowned the fire, stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. I already posted it.
Welcome back to Rivalry Week here at Grady Sportsource. Everyone knows that the rivalry between Clark Central and Cedar Shoals runs deep. Cedar Shoals head coach Leroy Riles has ties to both teams. Grady Sportsource reporter Jason Jefferson gets us ready to watch the Classic City Championship with more.
Yes, Lainey, there's no doubt that if you've been in the Athens area in the last 10 years, you've heard the name Leroy Riles. And when the Jaguars take the field in just a few short hours, this stadium will be packed. And that's just the way he envisioned it a few years ago when he got the job.
On Friday nights, the stands at Cedar Shoals High School are packed. And Leroy Riles is the one to thank. Since Riles took over in 2016, he has revitalized the fan base.
You know, I used to see it from afar, of course, you know, while I was at Central and down south. And usually that's what it takes is a little community support and a little confidence and to kind of get some things going as far as a program, as far as expectations.
When he first came to Cedar Shoals as a new hire, he wanted to form a club to help resurrect the Cedar Shoals nation, you know, for a minute flatline. So his objective was to get a heartbeat to it.
Riles contacted Wise and the idea for the quarterback club was born. Its objective? For alumni and boosters to return to the school and support the athletes.
To run a good program, you need some dollars. You know, you need to raise some money, and that's the first thing they do. But they also do a good job supporting the kids, just being around, coming to practice, being available to talk to them. And the more they see positive people, positive role models, the better off they're going to be.
Riles' call to the community has been met with an abundance of support as fans and alumni alike flock to Waters Wilkins Stadium.
We have tailgate, we have alumni coming back. We have a lot of alumni who are a member of the quarterback club. I've seen the spirit come back to the stadium.
Improvement has been tremendous from the kids, the community support, the school support, the faculty, the students inside of the actual school. I mean, we have more of a travel base now since him coming, but you know, that's a testament to who he is as a person.
This isn't the first time Riles has rebuilt a program in Athens. In 2006, Riles was tasked with bringing Cedar Shoals' rival, Clark Central, back to their winning ways.
He just came in with high expectations of coaches and of players and of kind of all stakeholders, and that's something that our community desperately needs.
Of course, we had some great times over there. You know, we did some good things over there. And, Coach Ward and I are still good friends. Coach Gary, the offensive coordinator, was my wide receiver coach while I was there. So a lot of those guys on that staff, we're very good friends.
He was a mentor and taught me a lot about managing people, you know, how to work hard and to have high expectations of yourself and of others.
Though no longer donning the Clark Central red and gold, his former colleagues appreciate what Riles has brought to the community of Athens as a whole.
It didn't really surprise me that he came back, but it's just kind of interesting to see how things play out, you know, because for years he was our coach and really it kind of got us on the map again, and then he's starting to do that now over at Cedar.
One thing stopping Coach Riles from putting Cedar on the map since his return to Athens? A win over his former team. However, that changed last year as the Jaguars beat the Gladiators for the first time in a decade.
You know, it's a big rivalry and everything, and we want to win the rivalry. But most importantly, we want to win it because of the region game. It's the beginning of our region season, region schedule, and to be one on the region is a heck of a lot better than 0-1 and being behind the 8 ball.
Fans believe Coach Riles' call for support seemed to be pivotal in last year's matchup.
To be able to gain the fans on the road is more important than a home game because you're away and you don't have that opportunity to get those fan support. But he has encouraged all community, students, everyone to attend the games.
Now after Riles and the Jags have officially crossed beating that losing streak off their list, they have bigger things on their minds. A region championship. And the fans will be with them every step of the way.
The parking lot out back is starting to fill up, and Laney, Riles hope that encouragement that these fans bring lead them all the way to a region championship.
Thank you, Jason. Last year, Coach Riles got his first Classic City Championship win as the Jaguars coach. There's less than 2 hours until his team takes on the Gladiators again, this time at home with those packed stands. Don't go anywhere. Up next, we will hear from our 2 analysts and find out who their picks are to win tonight's Rivalry Week games.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
The moment that many of you have been waiting for, it's time to find out the Grady Sportsource locks of the week. Again, I will be joined by Sportsource analysts Anna Catherine Alderman and Luke Gamble. With less than 2 hours until kickoff, they will be discussing which teams they believe are shoo-ins to win tonight's games. Anna Catherine, I know that you spent some time over at Athens Academy this week. How'd that go?
Yeah, so I went to practice to see what the Spartans were up to this week, and they're really excited about this game. So if anyone thought that this game against Prince Avenue is not a rivalry game, they're wrong. Coach Josh Alexander even called the Wolverines those people on the other side of town. So they're excited. I also, while I was there, talked to Laneith Whitehead. He's their star running back, linebacker, and I think he is the key to winning this game on both sides of the ball, and that's why Athens Academy is my lock of the week.
We're more of like a downhill offense. So I feel like it's easier for me to get behind a blocker and look like I'm going one way and cut right behind them. Because I feel like I set up my blockers for the best opportunity. So if I make it look like the linebacker, make it look like I'm going to the outside, obviously the defensive player is going to over pursue. I can cut back and I make the block easier for them. So that's how I like to approach my downhill running. I think we're just blue collar, very smash mouth football. We like to go downhill. We like to come and hit. So as you see, that's all we do at practice. It's I enjoy it. I enjoy winning. So as a competitor, I just like winning. So I love going out and just try my best and getting it done. On defense, depends on what I see. If I feel like I see the running back's eyes moving around, looking around, I'm thinking run. So I'm kind of getting a little aggressive on my toes, ready to go. If I feel like the quarterback is he's looking around and the running back's kind of set up wide, I'm thinking more of a pass drop, final wide receiver. So it just depends.
All right, Anna Catherine is taking Athens Academy as her lock of the week. And Luke, I saw earlier this week on Instagram, you were out at Clark Central. You had Isaac Ward there. I believe I saw a GoPro on his head. Y'all were running a couple of routes. Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's right. I spent some one-on-one time with Isaac Ward this week to find out kind of how he sees the field during a big play. So I decided to give viewers a look at the line of scrimmage through the eyes of Isaac Ward.
Hey guys, I am here with Isaac Ward, senior starting quarterback for the Clark Central Gladiators. Big game this week coming up against Cedar Shoals. How are you feeling and what are kind of your expectations going into the weekend?
I feel pretty good. Trying to have a good week of practice this week because we have a big game Friday. It's important because it's the first region game, so that's kind of the main importance of it right now.
All right, so 12 touchdowns coming into this game through just 5 games. That's pretty impressive. We're going to take a look at one of your passing touchdowns right here. So we'll set it up. This is against Oconee County, and you throw the deep ball to Jalen Gary. So right here, just kind of tell me what you're looking at. Obviously, they have a 4-man front and 2 safeties, but what's your thought process when you come to the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, so once I saw the 2 safeties, and it was only a 2-man route. So we had one over here and one over here, and that safety was cheated more that way. So we just trusted Jalen that he would have the chance or run a good route and beat the safety, and then I'll just have to beat the corner, and so that's what he did.
At what point in the play do you see Jalen open, beating the safety, and realize hey, that's where I'm going with the ball, and you just let it rip from there?
Yeah, it was a double move. So about right when he got to the 45, he kind of stopped, and that corner or the safety, he jumped it. Because we had been running just that route earlier in the game, so he just jumped that, and then the safety or the corner stayed on his hip, and he just ran past the safety, and I gave him a ball where he could beat the corner, and he did.
All right, well there you have it. How fired up does a play like that get you when you're running off the field? You just scored a touchdown, kind of give your team some momentum. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, I think everyone was pretty hyped up because they start that gave us a lead 14-7 after they went up 7-0. They ran a kickoff back, so everyone was pretty hyped up after that.
All right, well, we diagnosed the play right here, but do you think you and I can replicate that on the field ourselves?
Let's find out.
All right, let's do it. All right, we're down on the field with Isaac Ward, and we're gonna add a little twist to it. We're gonna put the GoPro on your head so we can see what you see at the line of scrimmage when you're looking at your receiver before you throw the deep ball. Are you cool with that?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. You get to the line of scrimmage, what's the first thing you look at when you're at the line of scrimmage?
I look at the 2 high safeties, and so make sure where they are first thing.
All right, let's run the play and see how it goes.
All right, down.
We got it, baby. One try. Going up with it. Top. Ah! All right, there you have it. Isaac Ward, senior quarterback for the Clark Central Gladiators. And this guy right here is why I'm picking the Gladiators as Luke's Lock of the Week.
There you have it. Athens Academy and Clark Central are the Grady Sportsource locks of the week. I think that both Anna Catherine and Luke made great arguments for their picks, and I'm very excited to see what happens in the rivalry games tonight. You saw them with multi-sport athletes, Athens Academy's Laneth Whitehead and Clark Central's Isaac Ward. But in our next story, we'll hear about a recent trend for high school athletes to specialize in just one sport. Grady Sportsource reporter Shreyas Lada joins us in the newsroom with more.
That's right, Lee. I went out to local Athens area high schools to see how sports specialization had affected them. What I found is parents continue to push kids towards specialization, while Athens area coaches believe that multi-sport athletes are pivotal to their program's success.
Sports specialization has affected schools all across America with declining rates of kids playing sports. In Athens, specialization, while present, hasn't affected the local school teams as much, who are built on the backbone of multi-sport athletes.
I think it's grown over the years with athletes wanting to specialize in specific sports, you know. I think it started with baseball and basketball. Now it's even leaked into football.
In a recent study done by the National Federation of State High School Associations on sports specialization, it found that 46% of athletes who specialized in sports had a previous lower extremity injury, compared to only 24% of athletes who did not. And that same study, it also found it led to stress and burnout.
Grade, the kid that I've seen it, the best young tailback that I've ever seen ended up quitting football in high school just because people caught him and passed him, you know, and he couldn't handle not being the best.
According to a study done by the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons, about 54.7% of parents encourage their kids to specialize in a single sport. But Coach Alexander sees the blame shared equally on both the parent and kid.
I think it starts with the parents. You know, a lot of the parents either played or wanted to play this sport and sort of force their kids or lead their kids into whatever they're interested in. And you know, and then the other side of it is the kid wants to specialize, and they're told that you can only be good, you know, if you play year-round. Tough on a kid when he's being led from a youth coach or be led from a high school coach all the way to his parents telling him he or she needs to be doing something.
Coach Alexander thinks the jealousy of other families is a possible reason why sports specialization is so prominent.
Out there that sort of vicariously, you know, they live through their kid. They want their kid to be something that maybe they weren't, or quite envious or jealous of other families.
Private schools especially have seen the effects of sports specialization on the various teams.
Has created a situation where maybe there's a few athletes walking the halls that could be a part of ACS football that are not, because they're concentrating in one area or another.
Well, on the other hand, public schools haven't been hit quite as hard.
Our athletes play multiple sports, which is good. And I think football kind of lends itself to that because most football players are multi-sport athletes anyway.
Football is a sport that can avoid specialization in the future by getting a few pivotal things across to kids, according to Athens Christian head coach Chris Williams.
Football is probably as safe as it's ever been. I think that has one component that has forced maybe some of that specialization away from the game of football. I think the game of football, I think that communication and that reteach is important. I think outside of that, what you continue to emphasize is the benefit of what college coaches look at when it comes to multi-sport athletes, the benefits of that for your school and your community, And I think also you look at the research and what research tells us in regard to injury, in regard to next steps for those kids.
Coach Alexander believes that adults are pushing sports specialization in kids from an early age in youth leagues such as AAU, Pop Warner, and others.
I think they're all adult-driven. I think every one of them is adult-driven, whether it's make money off the kids and the parents or tell the kids and the parents something that's just not true. You know, I think it's all where parents want their kids to be something that just, it's way too early to tell if it's going to happen.
Multiple sport athletes have raved about the effects of playing multiple sports to their friends, including Athens Christian running back Ben Pethel, who plays multiple sports including track, baseball, and football.
Definitely. We have a lot of guys walking the hall that need to be on the football field.
While specialization is on the rise throughout the nation, to Athens area coaches, multi-sport athletes are the key to the program's success.
I think multiple things happen. I think when they're involved in multi-sports, I think that's important. Being coached through different styles of leadership and also different roles on a team. A kid can be on one sport team and have a particular role. They go to another sport that maybe is not their number one and they have a different role to fulfill.
In the future, Athens area coaches plan to emphasize the benefits of multi-sport athletes. College coaches, for example, like to see multiple sports on an athlete's resume. Multi-sport athletes help keep a school's team alive and competitive while also helping boost school pride.
Thank you, Shreyas. Up next, we will be analyzing our 2 rivalry games and taking calls from Laney's line. I'm told the phones are blowing up with viewers wanting to tell us their thoughts on all things Athens area football. Don't miss your chance to join the conversation. Call 1-706-555-1932.
We do anything for kids. Yet 1 in 6 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org.
Tonight, emotions will run high in Athens as 2 of the area's most intense rivalry games will be taking place. Luke Gamble and Anna Catherine Alderman will be back to take you inside the 2 games and tell you everything you need to know before kickoff. First, here's more from Cedar Shoals coach Leroy Riles on what his defense will need to do to get another win against Clark Central.
On defense, we can't give up the big plays. You know, we'll go 2 or 3, 4 plays in a row consistent, all of a sudden, bam, we get a big play because we have a mental lapse.
Coach Riles makes some great points there. If the Cedar Shoals defense gives up those big plays, I just don't see how they're going to pull out a win tonight. Both of these teams played Oconee County earlier in the season, and Clark Central came out on top in a close game, but Cedar Shoals lost 34-0. And I think Clark Central is going to come out ready to go after that loss last year, and that's why I'm picking the Gladiators tonight.
Anna Catherine, I think this might be the first time I agree with you all night. Isaac Ward said this week that he knows Leroy Riles will have Cedar Shoals ready to go, but the Gladiators want revenge. Coach David Perno said he doesn't think home field advantage really plays a factor in this game. I mean, the 2 schools are only 5 miles apart. I don't think it's going to make a factor either. I'm picking the Gladiators to win the Classic City Championship tonight. But a game that is a little more unpredictable is across town at Prince Avenue.
Yeah, so I was talking about this game earlier tonight, and I am a little worried that Athens Academy has only played 4 games and it's week 7, but I think they'll be fine. Last week they put up 64 points against Towns County in the first half. So I see this being a high-scoring game, battle of the offenses.
Yeah, there's no doubt there's going to be a lot of offense in this one. Both teams scored 70 points alone last week, which is just crazy to think about. Athens Academy comes in averaging 43.5 points per game. Prince Avenue is averaging 46 points per game. This is going to be like watching Pac-12 football on a Friday night.
Well, on the other side of the ball for the Spartans, I think that Laneith Whitehead is the key to the game. I said this earlier. He's a great running back, but he's also a great linebacker. And he said earlier this week that they're scouting the quarterback. They're going to try to keep him contained. And Prince Avenue's freshman quarterback, Lucian Anderson III, hasn't really missed a beat since he went in for the injured Brock Vandegrift. And so I think it'll be interesting to see how this game plays out over at Prince Avenue tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it comes down to who has the final possession ultimately. One thing to keep in mind is Athens Academy doesn't have a lot of film to watch on Anderson just because he hasn't been around that long. So I think Greg Vandegrift will try to exploit that, but I think ultimately the Spartans are going to be too much to handle, and I think they'll be the ones taking that game. But it's going to be an exciting rivalry night in the Classic City.
Yeah, I totally agree. I can't wait to see it.
You'll remember earlier in the show, we played Buzzer Beater. Luke and Anna Catherine had a lot to say about Athens area football. And it seems our Grady Sportsource viewers have a thing or two to say about their answers. Our first call is Allie from Adderholt. Allie, you are on the line with Lainey. What's up?
Hey, so I just want to let you and everybody else up there know that this Cedar Shoals Clark Central game is not a game. We may have slipped up against Oconee County, but we're out for blood tonight. Cedar Shoals by 3 touchdowns. And if you think
Whoa. Hang on. 3 touchdowns seems a bit excessive for the Cedar Shoals offense, like we've been saying all night, and I hate to break it to you, this game will not be much of a competition. I think that Clark Central will have no problem getting the W tonight. Have a great rest of your day, Allie. And our next call is Jack from Jittery Joe's. Jack, you are on the line with Lainey. How are you?
I'm good. I just wanted to say I'm calling because I agree with your guys' take, which is a rare occurrence. I watch the show every Friday on Charter 181 at 5:30, and some of your takes are just, they get me so riled up. But I have to say, Cedar Shoals has no chance to hang with Clark Central. That Isaac Ward is a stud, and his wide receivers will have a field day with that defense.
Well, look, Jack, I'm glad that we're on the same page for the first time here, and thank you so much for watching the show. And, I 100% agree with what you're saying. Isaac Ward is great, and the rest of their offense is amazing. I think that Clark Central will have Cedar Shoals thrown off. Their defense will not be able to put up against their incredible offense that Clark Central has, and they'll get the W in no time. Thanks for calling. And the next call that we have is Tessa from Tate. Tessa, how are you?
Hi, I'm thinking Athens Academy will go all the way. What are your thoughts if they make it to state again and face Eagles Landing? What will they have to change to secure the win? All right, now can't wait to hear your response. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling in, Tessa. Look, we all know Athens Academy is one of the best A1 private schools in the state. Laneith Whitehead and the rest of the Spartans had Eagles Landing at 10-0 going into the half during the state championship last year. They're just going to have to keep that foot on the gas pedal for all 4 quarters if they make it that far again. Thanks so much for calling. And next we have Mike from the MLC. Mike, how are you?
Yeah, hey LT, thanks for taking my call. Long-time viewer, first-time caller. I just wanted to get your thoughts on North Oconee and what Coach Arndt has been doing. He's really got the Titans turned around. All right, I'll hang up and listen.
All right. Well then, Mike, thank you so much for calling in. I think that Coach Arndt has done a great job down on Hog Mountain Road, and his record shows that. As long as they continue to bring their A game on Friday nights, they can make a good run this year. Let's see here. The next call that we have is Steve from Snelling. Steve, how are you?
I'm great, I just think I'm here with another sizzling take. And I just think Lucian Anderson III is the second coming. He deserves start. And I think if he does not get the chance to start over that dud Brock Vandegrift, you are going to see some heat from me.
All right, well, you are right. That is one sizzling take, and I don't know if I can agree with you. I mean, I think that Anderson has been great, and he's done awesome the past couple of games, but that's it. It's only been a couple of games. So for you to say that he should start over Brock in the playoffs, I think is a bit too much of a hot take for me. I'm going to need to see him in a couple more games before I can chime in on who's ready for playoffs. Thanks for calling. And our last call is Carlo from Cresswell. Carlo, what do you got for us?
Lainey, love the show. Really happy to get a chance to talk to you. Going to be honest with you, I am a Cedar Shoals alum, so going to disagree with you this week. I think the Jags defense will be able to put enough pressure on Isaac Ward to make it happen. Jags roll 38-21.
All right, well, happy to hear that some passionate fans are calling in from Cedar Shoals. I'm sure that you guys are going to definitely add to that electric atmosphere tonight, but I have to disagree with you. I just don't think that their defense is going to be able to handle the Clark Central offense like we've been saying all night. Thank you so much for calling. Thank you to all of our viewers that called into Lainey's line. We appreciate everyone who tuned in to this special Rivalry Week edition of Grady Sportsource. Be sure to follow us on social media at @ByGradySports and let us know which game you're headed to. And check out the Athens Barrel Hanner Athens Banner Herald Best of Preps podcast for updates on all high school sports in the area. I'm Lainey Tagliaferri. If you're headed out to Cedar Shoals or Prince Avenue Christian, hope you enjoy that atmosphere. Have a great rest of your night.
Grady News Source is a student production of the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Georgia, which is solely responsible for its contents. Views expressed do not represent those of the administration nor the Board of Regents at the University System of Georgia.